Hey guys, today I'm painting a very loose line and wash watercolor flower. So I've got my wash water, my rinse water, my watercolor palette, my round brush with the point on the end of it, and my paper, my watercolor paper with the outline drawn on. If you want that outline, you can get it for free in the description. So I'm just mixing up very thin red shade. I mean, it ends up being pink once you add all the water to it. But this is just very watered down, and you can see that I'm not trying to stay within the lines. I'm not trying to fill in the lines. It's very, very loose. And that's how the whole painting is going to be. So you want to make sure that you don't try to be perfect with it. Just kind of scumble in some color. And now right up there at the center of the petals, I'm making it darker, which is just less water. And then with just clear water, I'm pulling it out into the petals. So water is what makes watercolor paint move on the paper. So if you add water, it just kind of pulls the color to wherever the water is. So now I've got this yellow ochre color for the center. And again, even in the center, you can see I'm leaving little white specks, so I'm not filling everything in. With watercolor, if you want any white, it's just, you don't really put the white on always. Usually not. You can add white watercolor or white acrylic or gouache or something, but ideally you just leave the space white, the white of the paper showing through. So right here, if you just dry your brush, you can kind of scoop off some of the color and change the value that way. So this is very simple. It's just, you just keep everything loose, and just remember that it's watercolor you're working with, so it needs water. So to keep everything wet. You don't want it puddling up on your paper, but you do want it kind of probably a little more than shimmery. You want it enough to where the paint is going to flow into the water. And that's what I'm doing right here. I'm using water to kind of help the paint to flow into the other shade. And I'll show you later how to, once it's all done, how to kind of finish the edges and frame it so that if you want to use it as art in your home or give as a gift or sell it, it's a really neat way to display it. So again, I'm using water to bring that dark color up into the center and now down into the petals even. And that just kind of brings it all together. Now the edges of this paper I've just torn. So what I do is I buy watercolor paper that's 11 by 14, and then I rip it down the middle and then down the middle again, and it gives me four. Each 11 by 14 gives me 4 of these, and this is like the perfect size to it's the perfect size to work on and to frame into an 8 by 10 picture frame with a mat. And I'll show you how to do that later. All right, so with it completely dry, I'm taking a Sharpie, and you don't have to use a Sharpie. You could use any kind of black marker, black ink pen, just a ballpoint pen, just whatever you have on hand. But notice how loosely I'm outlining this, and you can't even call it outlining, but I'm just forming some petal shapes, but I'm leaving a lot of white in there. And if you really wanted to, you could, like this is an ultra fine point Sharpie. You could use a thicker one in places and just make the black more obvious in places. You wouldn't want to do that all over, but you could put some of that in there, or just keep going over it with this tip. But there's a lot that you can do with this, and it's a fun little painting, and very expressive and kind of playful. So I really like the line and wash. I like regular watercolor too, a lot, but the line and wash is just kind of, like I said, fun and playful. So I really like it. All right, now I'm coming back with two different colors of splatter. I'm just tapping it against the handle of another brush. So this is just, you want to have plenty of paint on your brush, and just tap it against a brush or your finger or whatever, and create these little splatters on the paper. So I did the red, and now I'm going to go back in with my yellow ochre. Again, very watered down. You want your brush full. And just tap that as much as you want onto the paper. Okay, now with that completely dry, there's my edges where I've torn it all around to create that jagged edge, which I really love. And you can leave it like that, or you can kind of distress it with distress ink. I'll try to remember and put a link to this in the description if you don't have any already. Okay, so that's what it did to the edges. It's almost like burnt edges or aged paper or something like that. Okay, so now I've got some 8x10 scrapbook paper, different colors, and I'm trying to decide which color to use. And I really love that, and I ended up going with pink for whatever reason, which I also like, but looking at it now, I really like the green. It brings out the green in the leaf. But anyway, for some reason I went with pink. But either way, just whatever scrapbook paper you have, just pick something that really goes with it. And there it is framed, and that's just an 8x10 frame, and it looks great hanging on the wall. You could give it as a nice gift, or you could sell it if you're into selling your art. So there's a lot of options here. But I hope you all enjoyed this, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and God bless you.